Hello everyone, this is Sachin Nachnani and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is my first video and it's about why the stock markets fell after the RBI policy. My aim is to present the key highlights from the RBI policy and then discuss how the market interpreted it, and of course, most importantly, I will share with you the impact on stock markets going forward as well. But first, a standard disclaimer from my end. You can pause the video and read it in detail. So let's have a look at the key highlights. The Monetary Policy Committee meeting was held for 3 days from 20th to 22nd of May. In fact, this was an out of turn policy meeting, and the regular MPC meeting was to be held in June actually. So the RBI announced a 40 basis points cut in repo rate, taking it down to 4%, which is the lowest in over 15 years. Yes, you heard that right, lowest in over 15 years. The reverse repo rate, which is derived from the repo rate, also consequently got reduced by 40 basis points to 3.75%. RBI has said that it will continue with its accommodative stance as long as necessary. And yes, that is a very big positive statement to achieve growth while ensuring that inflation remains within target. And just for your information, the medium term target for inflation is CPI, that's Consumer Price Index of 4% within a band of plus minus 2%. There are some important comments on the global economy. The economic activity has contracted in developed markets like US, Eurozone, Japan, and the UK in first quarter. Major emerging markets like China, Brazil, and South Africa also witnessed decline in their economic output. Most global financial markets were calm and less volatile in April and May due to the large fiscal and monetary policy stimulus announced by the central banks across the world. Equity markets recovered from the sharp losses witnessed in March, while government bond yields also remained range bound. The US dollar has weakened, and this has led to a strength in major emerging market currencies. Crude oil rose marginally. Well, if you remember, it fell to minus $36. Yes, you heard it right that it went to minus $36 on 21st of April. If you don't believe me, check this screenshot for yourself. And it's back currently to around $36. So it's been very volatile in the last 2 months. This was led by production cuts announced by the OPEC Plus consortium and also partly due to demand revival prospects improving on expectations of an imminent easing of lockdowns in many parts of the world. Gold prices also remain strong on the back of hedging demand. These are some important comments on the domestic economy. Indian economy has been severely impacted by the lockdown, which has got extended to 2 months and still counting. Demand has collapsed not just in urban India but also in rural India. And a point to note here is that for many FMCG companies like HUL, growth in rural India was actually 1.5 times of the growth in urban India. So the collapse in demand has really hurt the entire Indian economy. Electricity demand is a good measure of economic activity, and if that falls, GDP also tends to fall subsequently. So no surprises that investment activity and private consumption have also fallen sharply. Passenger vehicle and commercial vehicles like trucks and tempo sales have fallen to zero. Yes, not a single vehicle was sold in April, and as we all know, even flights have been cancelled across the world due to the lockdown. Now, agriculture remains the only silver lining in India as the total area sown under Kharif is up by over 43%. Food inflation has surged in April as lockdown impacted supply disruptions. Now, these are some of the liquidity measures announced by RBI in the last few months. Average daily net liquidity under LAF, that's Liquidity Adjustment Facility, has gone up to rupees 5.7 lakh crores versus 4.75 lakh crores in April. RBI has further injected rupees 1.2 lakh crores through OMO purchases, that's open market operations, and another rupees 88,000 crores by means of various TLTROs, that's targeted long term repo auctions. It also conducted Operation Twist to distribute liquidity across the yield curve for rupees 10,000 crores. It gave additional refinancing of rupees 22,000 crores to NABARD, that's National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, SIDBI, that's Small Industries Development Bank of India, and NHB, that's National Housing Bank. This will help the major sectors in India, that is rural India, industry sector, and the housing sector. RBI has also provided rupees 2,000 crores to mutual funds through a special liquidity facility to ease liquidity, which had got squeezed after the Franklin Templeton episode. So far, since 6th February, RBI has announced measures to the tune of rupees 9.4 lakh crores to enhance liquidity in the system, which is about 4.6% of India's GDP. These are some other highlights of our economy. I would just like to draw your attention to the fact that banks' investments in various financial instruments has jumped sharply to rupees 66,000 crores against a decline of rupees 9,000 crores same time last year. This clearly shows that banks are uncomfortable in lending and instead of parking that money in various short-term investments. This has impacted credit growth also. You can see the other highlights. Now, these are some of the specific measures announced by RBI. The first two are for improving the functioning of the financial markets, while the next three are for support of exporters and importers. These are the set of measures to ease financial burden of borrowers. So the moratorium has been extended by another 3 months to a total of 6 months now. This is the biggest negative in the policy from a bank investor's perspective. Though borrowers are only getting a 6 month holiday and not a waiver of their loan, but it will definitely impact the credit culture in India. And NPS will rise significantly going forward. Interest on working capital loans has also been deferred by another 3 months. Moreover, even the accumulated interest need not be paid in one shot, and that can be converted into another term loan repayable by 31st of March. If you have availed moratorium, it is not to be treated as a downgrade or a default. Obviously, the NPA norms will exclude the entire duration of the moratorium. Now, NBFCs can also extend these measures to their borrowers if they so desire. Most NBFCs have already extended the first moratorium, so they will likely extend it again. Now, banks are required to cap group exposure limit to 25%, but in order to provide liquidity, it has been extended to 30%. And lastly, guidelines have been relaxed for withdrawal from the consolidated sinking fund of the state governments. This is a very positive move and it will help the states in getting funds for spending. So, what is RBI's outlook on the economy? Its inflation outlook is uncertain, and that's a negative factor as it may mean that inflation is most likely to move higher, and that is certainly not good news for equity investors. Crude oil prices remain low, which is good news as we are net importers of crude oil. Metal and industrial prices are likely to remain soft, which will help to keep our manufacturing costs low. Growth is likely to remain suppressed in first and second quarter of FY21. It will start recovering in the third quarter and gain momentum in the fourth quarter. Downside risks to growth are very high. So this time RBI has not given any GDP outlook. This is a very big negative factor and my as well as markets interpretation is that GDP growth will be negative for the first time in the history of India since independence. Even RBI has underestimated COVID-19's impact and that's another negative factor. So let's see how did the equity markets react. First, let's see the impact on Bank Nifty because that is most likely to be impacted by RBI policy. Now this is the 5 minute chart of Bank Nifty which opened at 17,554 level at 9:15 a.m. And since the news that RBI would be announcing its policy came just before markets opened, Bank Nifty went up higher and it made a high of 17,952 immediately after the announcement of rate cut. In fact, it could not even cross the previous day high of 18,200 despite such a big rate cut. You can see that Bank Nifty fell very sharply and went on sliding down. In fact, it could not even reach the day's opening level for the remainder of the day. Bank Nifty made a low of 17,105 and managed some recovery towards the end of the day to close at 17,279, showing tremendous weakness for the day. Incidentally, just for your information, Bank Nifty is just 1100 points away from its 52-week lows made in March this year. Now, similar to Bank Nifty, Nifty also opened lower and peaked out around 10 a.m. on RBI policy announcement at 9150 levels. And in the next 1 hour, made a low of 8969. Just like Bank Nifty, Nifty also could not go above yesterday's high of 9179. In fact, it broke the very strong support of 9000 also, where maximum put writing was seen. But towards the close rallied and closed above the psychological important level of 9000 to close at 9039 level. Now let's see the reason as to why stock markets fell so sharply. Actually, RBI had very good reasons and intent to cut rates, and that's done to mainly revive growth. There were many positive measures for helping borrowers and also for generating liquidity in the markets. But the markets fell because many of these measures are not in the interest of the banking sector. First, the extension of moratorium by another 3 months really spooked the markets, as this further increases the risk of NPAs in the entire banking system, which has anyways been dealing with rising bad loans and slippages for the last 1 year or so. Also, before the policy, market was building in expectations of a one-time full-fledged restructuring of loans being offered by RBI, but those hopes were also dashed. Another very big negative was the RBI not giving out any GDP growth numbers. That is being interpreted by the markets as very negative. Some sections of the market feel that GDP will show a negative number or growth this year, and if that happens, then it would be the first time in the history of independent India. Had RBI given some number, even if it was just a working number, market would have been relieved a bit, but no, that didn't happen. Despite RBI having reduced rates so aggressively in the past, rate transmission has been a major issue and continues to be so till date. So even after the current rate cut, how much pass-through of the same will happen is unknown. Incidentally, even though the repo rate is at 4% now, the 10-year benchmark GSEC yield is at 5.97%. That's almost 200 basis points higher. Also, other statements like impact of COVID being more severe than initially expected, and growth has higher downside risks, and the surplus liquidity of banks being parked either with RBI or in some other financial instruments as we saw earlier. Importantly, all these measures announced will only help firms to survive, but it won't revive the animal spirits that our country badly needs. So, what's my outlook for the stock markets in the near term? History suggests that rate cuts are generally liked by the markets, and that leads to a rally in the indices, especially Bank Nifty. But as we saw, that didn't happen, and markets did not like the policy and it pushed Bank Nifty lower. So my view is that overall markets, that is Nifty and Bank Nifty specifically, will weaken further, and Bank Nifty's previous low of 16,116 will get broken sooner than later. Bank Nifty is relatively weak as compared to Nifty, and as and when it breaks the March lows, it's only a matter of time that Nifty also will retest the lows of 7511. That's because the weight of BFSI stocks in Nifty is nearly 32%. So I would suggest all my viewers to stay away from making any investments in the banking sector in the near term unless some other stock specific announcements are made. So with this, I would like to conclude this video. Please subscribe to my channel to get access to more knowledge, and do like and share this video. Please click on the bell icon to get notifications and feel free to offer your comments. Thank you so much for watching this video, and you can connect with me on Twitter and Instagram. My ID is at Sachin Nachnani. Thank you.